Yeah, this month we are very happy to have back with us. We had them in 2018. Some of you were around then, probably not some not. Singlecut Beer Smith. I think they have a pretty good story. I like the concept because I'm a musician, and the whole thing is about music, music-centric. They do some great beers, and we're gonna try everything from a sour to a honey kolsch, and some IPAs in between. We have 6 beers to try tonight, so we will get a smattering of their products, and yeah, look forward to trying them. Without further ado, here is Ken from Singlecut.
First of all, thanks so much to everyone for being here. We're so excited to have you guys try our beer, and we're really excited to be here tonight in Staten Island, a little bit further away, sharing the love across the boroughs. To tell you a little bit about the brand, we're a going on 14-year-old craft brewery from Astoria, Queens. I know with the real estate things, we might fall under for the sticklers Dittmar Steinway, but culturally we identify with being from Astoria, Queens, and that's something that's a really big part of our identity, and it's something that we worked hard to be part of the local culture and the local identity. One of the few things about the brand is that, that goes back to Queens, is that we're actually the first brewery to make craft beer in Queens since Prohibition. So we're the ones who kind of broke that open, and it's been going on great for 14 years. I've been drinking I've only been working for Singlecut for like 3 years now, but I've been drinking their beer for 10 years because around the time that they came out, other notable brands that you might have heard of, like Other Half or Finback or Grimm, have made a really, really great name for New York IPAs and craft beer. The only thing is, though, is that we're from Queens, so we often don't get put together with them and talked about with them. But we are part of that fraternity, and to kind of give you an identifier, we're around the time where a lot of the beer suddenly became hazy in New York City. We're kind of the proponents and pioneers along with the brands that we said, and we're really proud of having brought a new style of making beer and a new delicious beer to the 5 boroughs that people enjoy. A little bit about the history of the company. Give or take 15 years ago, our owner, who was in advertising, kind of picked up the hobby of making craft beer and really kind of went into it, head first, and really kind of fell in love with craft brewing, and that's kind of the lore and how it all came to be. That hobby slowly became more of a passion, where he started working at Kelso or helping out at Kelso in order to get his feet wet and to understand how to make beer in a larger capacity. And then, as you do, you kind of shop around the warehouses and buildings where all this can be viable, and you found the location that we have today in Astoria, Queens, and he's been making craft beer ever since. But it all started kind of like, I don't know if you've heard the expression bathtub gin, but he was like literally in his bathroom with kegs on ice, trying to control the temperatures and doing things the old-fashioned way, when people didn't have as much resources for craft beer or hazy IPAs like you do today, where you could just go on the internet and make a hazy. But he was kind of just figuring that out on his own. Originally starting with more lagers, and as you do in New York, and as we did with the culture of New York, got into more hazy IPAs. One of the big ethos of the brand, like Mike shared, is that we're a very music-centric place, where when he first started the brand, what he had was a guitar collection, and that was his #1 passion. But of course, as you do, you need funds to get a wonderful brand growing. So one of the things that had to go were the guitars, and in its place came apart Singlecut, which kind of a cool thing. I'm gonna put this down for a second, but this crappy illustrations, but this is a single cut guitar, most well known for like a Les Paul, and this would be like a double cut guitar.
Oh.
So we also make a beer called the Plain Top, which is literally body shapes of guitars and body styles of guitars. So a single cut is when you just have one cut at the bottom of your guitar so that you can slide your hand a little deeper into the fret and play those high notes, if you will. But essentially the whole ethos, 18 watt, which is our flagship IPA, is the wattage that goes through a speaker. Frequency, which like sound frequency. Kim, which is our sour, which we've been making for many years now, is named after Kim Deal of the Pixies. So like everything that we do is essentially inspired by music, and all of the beers today. The which is the phrase that comes before Oye Como Va, right? We have Kim, like I told about. Strictly handheld in reference to a microphone, and then we also have psychedelic, you know, like the music style. So all of our beers kind of like follow that trend of being very like music centric and very passionate about music, as you know, because he wasn't going to let that passion die when he sold those guitars. He was going to pass the passion on to the beers, and then, you know, have people enjoy that. And another big thing that we kind of happenstance stumbled into that we love, that is part of our ethos, is that we're literally 1 block away from the Steinway Piano Factory. So this year for the first time we made a beer celebrating their 173rd or something like that. Like, yeah, massive birthday for them. And we made an alt beer, which is like a dry hop lager, an old school dry hop lager, in order to celebrate that. So we've been trying to consistently play live music, play records in the tap room, make that part of our ethos, and just make sure that there's always a little smidgen of music and a passion for music when you're trying out their beers at the tap room and beyond. Yeah, but we've been making beer ever since, and we've been very passionate. In terms of the kind of beers that we make, I can kind of tell you, the biggest thing is, I would say, diversity. So right off the bat, like from our core lineup that we have all year round, we have a 5% hazy IPA, we have a lager, we have a sour, we have a double IPA, we have a milk stout, we also have a buckwheat dry stout, more resembling the style of Guinness, a pilsner, golden ale, and an amber, which is a little bit compared to other brands that you might have heard from the New York City beer culture, which is a little bit more IPA-centric. We like to think that we're a little bit more diverse, and we're one of the few people making a sour that's available all year round. So we constantly want people to be, you know, experiencing our craft and our mastery, not just through a hazy IPA, because that's kind of become the ethos of New York, and we don't want that to happen. So we have a lot of bars that like order our amber just because they want to buy a craft beer that's an amber that's available all the time. That's not something in the market that's available. So we've constantly tried to make, you know, diversity and quality of the beer a big priority, so that we don't, you know, you're not just going, oh, another IPA, right? And another unique thing about that is that, with that being said, one of the things we don't often talk about is hops, because Rich, our owner, it's kind of kept that really close to his chest and doesn't like to really share hop bills that much, because people start to get different ideas, and people go, oh, I don't want to buy this beer because it's a Galaxy IPA beer. But maybe you drink it, you go, this tastes nothing like a Galaxy IPA beer, and you enjoy it. So we don't want to put any preconceived notions in people's heads, and we want people to enjoy the beer for the way it tastes. Kind of like wine tasting notes, you know, oh, I smell old tennis balls and a rotten plum, you know, things like that. So we want people to identify with interesting notes. I mean, obviously for us in beer, it's going to be citrusy or fruity or a little bit more dry, you know, hay and those kind of things. But we like to talk about it more in a. I'm all right for that. Yeah, for that one.
I'm going to get it.
Yeah, sure.
So this is a Savoy one?
And then in terms of seasonal beers, we like to try to express ourselves there a little bit more uniquely. Sometimes, although we don't disclose our hops, we will make beers that celebrate certain hops. We make a beer called Bond, that's a Galaxy IPA, or Shuggy, which is coming out in about 2 weeks. That beer is going to be a Nelson IPA. So when it is on purpose, purposefully using specific hops that have specific qualities that people are looking for, then we don't mind saying, all right, this is the star hop in this beer. But for the most part, when we have a beer that's using multiple hops, or the end product is the final goal for the flavors, that's when we kind of keep it close to our chest, so that we kind of let you enjoy it for how you taste it, instead of being like, hey, only think about Galaxy hops or Mosaic hops while you're drinking this. It's not kind of the idea that we want to put in people. And right now we're having you try Kim. Kim is, again, one of our flagship beers, one of the beers that does the best for us in the summer. It's sour, tart, light, very, very dry, and very, very, like, you know, easy to drink. I always tell people, take that first sip, pump it up a little bit, and then your mouth will get used to it. And from then on, it only gets more interesting. So, it's, like I said, it's one of the beers that does the best for us, because not a lot of people make a sour all year round, and this is something that in the middle of January you'll be able to find if you look for it. So,
Am I allowed to ask what the flavoring of this sour is?
the flavoring, so it's called Kim the Cranberry Sour, but it is actually blackcurrant and hibiscus, trying to simulate those notes of cranberry.
this is really good. And for me, say that for a sour,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, people often are not that big on sours, and I understand some people's palates are not built to enjoy it. But even for those people, I do think it's a very interesting beer. Whereas some sours, you go, okay, no, thank you. You know? Yes. No lactose. We don't use any lactose in our beer. Yeah. Even our milk stout is milkless.
So this is one that's been around for almost since the beginning, right?
Yes. Yeah. So this is one of the OG beers that the company is like well known for. Phenomenally, just because also like on a price point level, it competes really well because we make large batches of it all the time. Whereas a lot of the places that make sours, they make a little bit of this cool mango whatever, and then they do a guava this, and which I think is great. I think in many ways sours are a great expression of the seasons and the available fruits, but when
That also makes it very expensive, and then that's
much more expensive.
So,
Yeah, it's about like anywhere from 15 to 25% more expensive for similar quality sours on the market. So we're really happy that this one is always available to everyone who has it.
Did you say what the ABV is?
Oh, the ABV for the can is going to be 4.2. Yeah. So it's not super low, you know, but it's not like ridiculously high. It's something that you can kind of sessionably enjoy on a really hot summer day. So yeah, and I think next up, I don't know if he's ready yet, but I can start talking about it. Next up, we have the beer we call Sabor. It is our Mexican lager, and what's unique about the Sabor is that we wanted to make a Mexican lager with lime in it, but often that's kind of where many brands go wrong. They make a great Mexican lager and they add citric acid or some lime extract or something that can be a little off-putting, but for us, we made a very nice, crisp, high-quality corn lager, so even that in and of its own I think is really delicious, but we add freeze-dried lime zest, which doesn't add like a lime oil flavor, doesn't create a sourness, doesn't make it limey like a Rose's lime syrup. So what that allows you to do is enjoy a beer. If you wanted to squeeze a lime in there, you even could because there's no acid added to it, but it has a very natural, very, very subtle lime flavor that isn't off-putting. That brings it, that makes it for me like a little bit even more drinkable. That I was gonna have 3, easily turns into 4 because it just has that little bite to it that brightens it up. I get heartburn, so I have to avoid the sours, but
Wow, I have a lot of apps going at once. No, usually.
oh yeah.
No, I realize at times, like sometimes I'll have
But it's not
apps, too many
tacky,
apps
it's
going
not
at once,
fake,
and I'll just
it's
close
not
them all at
sour.
once.
It's
But
just
it's
a
like,
little,
well, I want the
it's an
Pokemon
aroma
Go.
of lime that's kind of added to the beer. So. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's very complicated. This is something you can sip on the beach.
But it's also 5%, so it's not like a low 4%. It's not like drinking your Corona. You get the full effect of a beer with body, a beer with alcohol, a beer with flavor. Yeah, there's some sea salt. Yeah, sea salt and lime zest. So.
I get the lime, but it's not like, I really like how it's subtle, and there's
Very.
it's subtle, it's enough that it's there, but it's not overpowering.
And again, there's a lot of breweries that make this kind of beer great, but when it goes wrong, you go, oh my god, now I have a 4-pack of this, you know?
You guys, now it's like you're speaking in a key like pie, you know?
If that 10 years ago, we would have added lactose and then we called it a key lime pie, you know, IPA, smoothie IPA or whatever, but, you know, now fortunately, I think that era was great and I think we could use more interesting weirdo beers, but I'm glad we're not making as many lactose.
I mean, I do like those beers that are like thick.
Yeah, but compared to a Corona,
The only problem is,
way
I mean, they're really good when they're done really well, like those. I guess they call them a milkshake beer where they're like really thick and stuff like that, and they got all like the fruit stuff in it.
for that fruit smoothie.
That fruit smoothie beer, they're really good, but they're like thick, and also they must stay cold.
They must stay cold. Also, the person really good at making those kind of beers should make it. Whereas, for a minute, everybody started making sours about like 5 years ago, maybe 6. And you go to the grocery store and there would be 10 different kinds of sours. but I could promise you there was no consistency amongst any of those. One might have been really sour, tart, dry, and one could have been like a fruit punch, just because everyone was making sour. So that's kind of, again, one of the reasons why we've continued to make Kim, because it was kind of the sour that people always wanted, and we just made it available all year round.
Because she doesn't drink sours, and like I like sours, but I will find some are just like some like even like I mean like Bolero Snort. I think they did a oh what's that? I think Bolero Snort did a Sour Patch Kids one once, or somebody did that, and I had it, and it was like it was I thought it was good and it was okay, but then like when you have ones that are just supposed to be normal, but they taste like you're drinking liquid sour candy.
Yeah.
It's a little too much.
But I will counter with that. There is magic to the nuisance. The little details, because the nuance. There you go. Because we did make a beer and we used some like Fruity Pebbles extract one time.
That sounds
because
fun.
We wanted to have fun, and we wanted to make like an alternate version of a sour beer that we did. So we had stuff, and we had interesting stuff to play with, and it worked out great. It's just a lot of it is, so much of it is balanced, and I don't think there's any forbidden ingredients, as long as you really care about, all right, we're not putting this out into the public if it's not good, but if it's good, sure, we tried something new.
So like our beer club, for this, we did cereal. So somebody did like, somebody got Lucky Charms, somebody got Captain Crunch, all these different things, and so they did different beers, including some of the cereals.
They made a mash with cereals?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, all the ingredients you need are kind of in there, you know? If you gotta make a double IPA, you use a little bit of, the Lucky Charms for the added sugar or whatever, but like I said, I don't think there's any wrong way. Although I will say, I am here representing Rich. Rich is quite the purist when it comes to beers, and he does like a beer that's made correctly with a lot of integrity. With that being said, the next beer we're presenting, I think, is a beer that kind of breaks that barrier a little bit. The next beer is going to be strictly handheld, which is our Kolsch brewed with honey, ginger, and lemon.
Ooh.
It is a little bit sweet, but what's way more than it is sweet, it tastes like honey. So the honey flavors are way stronger than the sweetness you're going to get from it.
Like a mead?
It has very, very similar tasting notes to a mead. The ginger is very subtle, the lemon maybe even more so. And I will say this beer has been one of the more polarizing beers we've made. Most of our beer drinkers are classic lager and IPA drinkers, so it's kind of very weird.
We like the beehive logo.
Yeah. But I just did a beer tasting event about 2 weeks ago, and this was one of the most popular beers we had there.
Bee on it.
It's so good.
I'm glad Mike asked me, because I was completely wrong, because the honey used in it is a very rare honey called meadow foam from the state of Oregon, that the bees graze on the white blossom of the meadow foam plant in the Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of to be highlighted. And another point where it's not just sweet, classic, artificial tasting honey, it's definitely got a quirk to it that you can definitely taste.
It does.
I think it's really balanced. It reminds me of ginger beer.
Yeah. But to a person who's like a classic lager or like an IPA drinker, or a person who's like a kind of really bogged down into classic beers, it's a little bit weird, And I think that's great, because we like to be kind of sticklers and really make beers by the classic standard. But once in a while, we like to deviate. We like to say where you zag.
I have to say, it really gives. I really like it, and it really just feels like. I mean, to me, it just feels like when you go like out in the country and you're just out in nature. It really just feels like something to drink out in nature.
Yeah, the honey has like that very natural funk to it too. So.
Oh, sure. See, looks like it's wherever you're speaking to, like, I like that. That's really cool. Yeah, you can do that.
You don't need to if you have
How much is the honey? Like, how much is the honey? And do you know?
It was quite a bit of honey, and it was added afterwards because we can pasteurize beer, so and it allows us the ability to add stuff after that's not going to ferment and really change the chemistry of the beer.
Okay, that's interesting. No, because I kind of want to find this honey now.
You got it, yeah. It's pretty,
what's it called?
It's pretty easy to Google. It's called meadow foam.
Meadow foam.
All one word. Yeah, you can definitely buy it online.
No, because this sounds like something really cool. Because Nick right here, he's our bee guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you ever need some local honey, he's your guy.
And then,
What's up, brother? Frankie, how you doing?
I have family in Oregon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My brother has fun doing that. What's that? The honey? The honey's called meadow foam. Ooh. Now we're getting
Oh, now he's got to Google it.
Portland, Astoria, we're talking down the coast a little bit.
Meadow foam.
When you check in, you can actually
it thrives in the Willamette Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whose ringtone was that?
I love that.
That's Kim Possible.
And Central Oregon. Willamette
Power
Valley and
Rangers?
Central Oregon.
Oh, I heard beep 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 beep. I thought it was.
It's just a 2-note difference between the two.
Really? I didn't know that.
Impossible.
That just almost sounds like the composer's like, shit. This is such a good clip. But they want something different. That's it.
Mine is 007.
I heard they've actually come out with a new James Bond video game, and it's a different.
Modern graphics.
From what I heard, the new game is like just as good as GoldenEye. One review said it was like the new GoldenEye.
Just so you can play that once a year, right?
I've never actually played the original. I didn't have a Nintendo 64. And the thing is like I know that the pause music is some of the best music ever written off the face of the earth. And I know there's a really I heard that I know there's a I'm not sure. I think there's a bonus level where you get the face.
We're pouring.
I keep trying to say Jawless. The dude with the big teeth.
Guys, 15 on the board. It's just sometimes this is 18 long.
Which one is this one?
Yes.
18
I couldn't figure it out. What do you mean?
There's like 7 of these that play local stuff.
Oh yeah.
Coke and a diet?
So the next beer we're having you try is 18 watt, right, Mike? Yeah. So 18 watt is kind of our flagship beer. This is the one that, it's out of all the beers that we make, we have printed cans made for it because it's just something we make the most of. It is kind of an everything beer. It's a proper IPA in terms of flavor, but in terms of ABV, it's more of a session IPA. In terms of hop and flavor profile, it has a lot of that bright, crispy, citrusiness and zinginess that you get from an East Coast, but it also has some of the piney and resinous vibes that you get from a West Coast IPA as well. So it kind of hits all parts of the palate, and the beauty of it all is that it's 5%. So if you want to drink
that's lovely.
a 4-pack of Tall Boys, you're not going to fall asleep during football Sunday. Because sometimes I start drinking IPAs at like 1 p.m. on Sunday, and I'm like, all right, I don't think I'm going to make it through this 3-hour game. But with this beer, you can kind of get the pleasure of drinking a very, very hefty, full-flavored IPA, but it's only 5%. And it also kind of has a drier, lighter feel than you're going to get from like a thick, rich, hazy IPA as well. So one of the favorites and one of the old school beers of ours that we're like really proud to always make.
Yes.
I mean, I know you said like
No, I didn't go into extreme steps yet. So.
Thank you so much. And we're back there.
You okay over here?
Sometimes they'll give away the a lot of like meat stuff.
You like it too?
I've tried I don't even know smoke.
I smoked before I drank it.
Yes. Who's next?
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. You drunk? I've given you
Yes. Barely things are really juicy.
No, that's what I'm saying. This
I kind of small batch.
I've never actually done that.
A lot of stuff that's like really wide barrel, 5 to production wise, like that. Our minimum batch.
That's what I'm putting 5 to beer.
Barrel aging, we've done stuff in the past, but
Hold on. What? They probably are. That doesn't mean shit.
It's much more prevalent to the size that we brew, and also
What's this train place in here?
yeah, when it works, it's great. It's just like it's not worth it when it's more kind of on a production scale. But we did make a margin.
Can I see?
Yeah. Like we did one with like OBX and we had a Martha a couple years ago. And that came out excellent. People like love that beer. super quick at the bar, so I kind of like that. But it's not something that people are coming for that much anymore.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go there, we're gonna have to find the name of the place.
It's pretty creative. You're gonna get creative ideas. I feel like it's all out flavors. Like, has a muskiness that kind of chills. Yeah.
Series, but then COVID killed all that, and I could not get enough of it. It basically was so it's yours, right? And I gave me the top. I didn't know I made the cow. I made the cow in it, and then years later, our beer place,
They're also especially ones that have still some steak on it. And it's kind of a one-time use steak too.
Well, not really. We fire them, you know.
No, but I mean in terms of if you buy a kind of still wet Jim Beam barrel, that's another thing. It's like
it's a lot of tequilas.
yeah. Tequila's too great for that.
Dude, I think there's 511 different flavors that's not. Vanilla is like
It's Rafa Uzo.
They aged it in an oak cask, and I never. It was like so exciting. Now the apples are vanilla flavors.
With the Penny Railway?
That's the whole thing. It's like, okay, you saw it again.
With the Penny Railway.
I'd rather take it use that and make an extract.
You know what? Now I'm going to trade because
whereas beer at 5%, how much alcohol is there in that? Yes.
Thank
Commercials.
How you guys doing, all right?
Oh yeah.
Biggest part.
They're only doing it on Sundays.
25 different kinds of scotch. The fire and ice. The cinnamon thing, and even brands that you thought had a little bit of like legacy and tradition are like, oh no, we just bought a Jack Daniel's tag in. Jack Daniel's tables flavored scotch. I'm like, this always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like even brands like Lefroy are doing cool limited edition stuff, and I'm like, it's really old fashioned.
You can't afford that limited edition stuff. No, not like some of the stuff like.
But that's another thing. If I could get a cask of Lefroy or any of that like really interesting stuff, that's really horrible. There's no reason why we wouldn't make a beer that tastes like medicine.
I did.
Nuances for flavors together. That's
I went back to check. Yeah, I tried beer each day. I tried German.
No. Well, yeah, we do that. We have
She goes,
I thought we were going to drink the crap out of the bottle and see how it was.
I want to say,
But a lot of the sellers like just don't go bad, which is kind of funny, right? Everybody's like, here's like, this 36 months old. Different beers, anywhere from 6 months ago to was that? It's t-shirt. Oh, I'm trying to read, so I just read one. It's like, let me see if the next beer's coming out. No, the next beer's going to be a West Coast IPA.
I'm big problem.
The one after here.
going from where the bee is.
But both are probably like, if you like IPA.
Yeah.
Is it surf time?
Yes. It's surf time.
We're friends with like the
No.
neighbors.
It's not advanced, you got it wrong.
It's not Fitzgerald, so it has to be.
What is it, surf?
In one surf. That's what
And it's a big hit.
I said it's either gonna be one, it's gonna be the Ichabod. That's what's gonna be that one. I'm guessing correctly.
I didn't try it.
This is Singlecut being
Oh, wow.
Remember we used to, I got it right here. We both tried it.
Oh, that's right.
The scare, I got an accident, the scare will pop, the airbag and all, like cut it out.
Yeah, I guess that's
No, scare. I was driving around with my skate for like a good week. Then I bought my car up. Not actually broken, like we fixed it. And I drove the Sonata for like 3 years until that thing on a big black tire. Sold it for whole money in the quarter. After driving for 3 years, keep that in mind. Inflation.
What's the matter with
Still running? Cat, bro, I always got I'm not having Carl for the so I asked the finger, and the last thing I'll do, I used to throw something.
Oh, okay, right with you.
I asked my
That's a great read.
and it's here.
When you drink it, you have to take it off.
You know, it was like a meeting for 3 minutes like this year. Yeah, my students were like every day it was like
You're right, I like it. I like it.
we went far and wide.
I don't know that. I didn't even feel that we come to 400 at first, and then I needed to get tire sensors because when the tires popped, the tire sensors went bad, so I had to replace the tires. Is that right? So even though they replaced the sensors, the tires were nothing really, all the packs that I had, I used my dollars.
No, they didn't come after. Yes, they have.
Well, I'm waiting till this car drops. I just want to get a better gear. My next car, I'm trying to get a 2012.
And they're 6 years old now. 6 years old.
Imagine.
My car, the Civic's got it. I love the Civic. I do love the Civic. I just love it.
Yes. Okay, so there was a slight little whoopsie. And the last beer that you guys tasted was actually the 18 watt. I mean, that was the surf. So the clear IPA. Yeah.
I really messed up.
So this is the actual 18 watt.
This is actually 18 watt. Sorry, guys.
This is the
Sorry.
and it'll make sense. After drinking that last one, you're gonna go, okay, this one's 5%.
Start from the beginning.
We'll get some more Kim, please. Right?
Mike, you do the intro.
This is the first time this has ever happened at Beer Pub, alright? We don't normally mess up.
All right, so this one's the 18 watt. The 18 watt, as I said before, 5%, proper hazy IPA, but it's got notes of East Coast and West Coast. Very, very soft and gentle, very drinkable, very sessionable. If I feel like he gets it. And you'll see that it kind of has a blend of the citrusy and the kind of piney and resinous beers that you get from the West Coast, but ultimately well rounded out by the haziness, the juiciness, and the citrusy qualities. And to retroactively describe the last beer that you guys had, sorry about that, The one that you had before was a surf. The surf is really exactly. The surf is one of my favorites because it's a West Coast IPA, but it's quite light. It's a West Coast IPA you take to the beach. So often West Coast IPAs are straight up bitter, resinous, piney, clear, and a little bit kind of a brown hue to it. And it's supposed to be that bitter IPA, that slightly darker IPA from the West Coast that you like. This is like the citrusy, lighter cousin of that beer that you take to the beer that you can kind of enjoy and enjoy the crispness and the brightness. But that was the last one.
The one before that was this was the AC one.
Yeah, this one's 81, that's in the surf.
Yeah.
Your brewery is exceptionally clean.
Yes.
You have a table in the middle of your brewery that has nothing on it. That is an accomplishment.
Really.
It's a flat surface with nothing on it.
Also, we've expanded the whole space. We now brew all of our beer in Clifton Park, which is close to Albany. So we've removed a whole bunch of tanks, so there's a lot more space. We do movie nights with a big screen in the back.
Still have the band that's up.
We also have a raised band stage, kind of right by the entrance. We also have board games and all kinds of stuff to do there. At any given point, you can kind of have up to 15 to, on a busier, heavier inventory time, anywhere up to like 17, 18 beers available at a time. So you can really get to try a whole bunch of different things. And another thing, if you guys are into pinball, we probably have like 20 pinball machines now.
Wow.
So if you just want to go like drink beer, play pinball all day long, it's also a very big pinball destination for us.
Yeah, pinball tournaments.
We do, yeah. Always feel free to reach out about like details of any events on Instagram. We'll be able to get back to you and let you know like what kind of events we have going on. Singlecut beer.
You gotta have a pinball tournament and play Pinball Wizard nonstop. Just on Pinball Wizard on loop.
We could, I mean, it's plausible. I'm sure our owner could make a playlist of just pinball music. All right, so coming up next, but not least, is... All right.
Zordon is calling.
The last one is going to be Psychedelic, our Imperial IPA. Any IPA that we make over 7.5%, we just call Imperial. We don't really mess with the doubles or triples or who knows what's what, right? Because we're not Germany. We don't have any laws where if we don't make it according to that law by those standards, they're going to throw it out and not let us sell it. So we just call all of our stronger IPAs Imperial IPAs. The Psychedelic, although we don't often talk about hops, this one I can share with you that it has 3 kinds of New Zealand hops.
Wow.
New Zealand hops is one of the ways we've been really differentiating ourselves in our IPAs from everyone else. I think a lot of people are just kind of played out on the Citra, Mosaic, Galaxy, the typical IPAs that you're seeing everywhere. Especially now that I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in the beer industry who did a lot of research before they made their first hazy IPA, and that first hazy IPA came out good. Just because there's so much resource and knowledge around. So when you're able to source New Zealand hops and make beer with hops that have a different quality, you can really tell the big difference, and this is one of those beers for us.
No, we already had it. I really liked it.
Still like that last one.
I know, right?
Everybody got
The 18 one.
psychedelic? You want more?
Yeah, we'll have more.
I'll take more.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Just the hatred.
Hard pop, let me get a cold dip. What does it mean? No, Nick.
What did you do?
You said you wanted more.
You said you want? You said you want more beer, you're gonna get dumped on.
She never come down. I'm sorry. No, you know what? This thing will come night. It's all from out now. We messed up the beer.
That's a better joke.
Which one's the strongest so far? Yeah, 7.7.
Not one. That's a better joke. You said it. She was like more. She said more.
I will say also, one of the things is, our biggest markets are like Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I've never
Not even that it's bougie. They're all just so tired of drinking 8% double IPAs. Like, they already had that exploratory moment in their life where they're like, all right, if it's higher than 7.5%, that's the IPA I want. A lot of people are now gravitating towards making pale ales that are way hoppier. So sticking with like a 5.6 to 6.6, right? Somewhere around there, that 1% range. But they're making the pale ales way hoppier. Because for the longest time, such great breweries would make a pale ale, and they'd make it with significantly less hops. And you're like, I don't want less hops, I just want less ABV. And a lot of them didn't realize that. And I think in the past 5 years, especially after COVID, you see a resurgence of people going, well, people drink less after COVID. I don't know if you've heard that statistic. The young people don't drink as much. All these statistics are coming out. And for those people to make a...
I haven't stopped.
All right, good. We're doing good in Staten Island.
Cheers to that.
No, seriously,
I've slowed down, but I haven't stopped.
Well, generally speaking, I think that's a trend that I'm seeing, at least in like Brooklyn and Queens, is that people want lower ABV, more hops.
I feel like whenever people make a session, they cut down on the grain themselves, and then they keep too many hops, and then you get this like thin, watery beer with like tons of hops in it.
Yes.
That's a problem.
That's what
That happens
session
a lot.
is. With pale ales, I feel like they keep the grain bill relatively the same, but just reduce it enough to make the lower ABV, and then they also reduce the hops. So there's this watery, less hoppy one too. So I feel like the sessions have done really well for themselves because they ultimately have to play to putting IPA on the
They're no
label.
longer balanced, right? Like it doesn't play the same as when you have a good backbone of alcohol and sweetness. It balances with the hops. And then you take that, you take that away and you get this big blast of hops, and it's not.
And you're starting to see that balance exist more in the pale ale world because forever people would make pale ales and just reduce the hops.
Yeah.
People wanted something they could drink more of and drink it for a longer time. So if you made it too aggressive, then it was no good. Now people want an aggressively hoppy beer that's not too boozy, so they can enjoy it and like not waddle home, you know.
Yeah. That's what Flagship just did. Flagship just kicked with Blood Orange down to 5.5.
Oh my god, it is.
Yeah.
What?
No.
See, that's
You didn't know that, did you? Inside.
it's not resin. It's so
I feel betrayed.
It tastes. I don't like it as much either, but a lot of people don't know the difference.
No, there was,
Yeah?
yeah.
But I hope everybody enjoyed all of our beer.
I
We're
will
so
say, I
happy you
didn't
guys are
notice.
here to try it all.
They had 'em- they used to have
If you guys ever want to make it out to the tap room, let me know. I have here in limited quantities, so I hope I have enough for just everybody. If not, I can figure something out to get you a beer there. And I have guitar picks that you can trade in for a beer at the tap room.
Yeah, yeah.
So please be sure to come to me. And I also have tote bags for you guys, some Singlecut tote bags. Well, thank you so much for being here, and Singlecut loves you.
We're here to play. Thank you so much.
Go get Chris.
I don't have next month's beer club planned yet, but we'll have it. I'll figure it out.
We can wait.
Diamonds are made under pressure, my friend.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you all for coming, and go out and ask for Singlecut. I don't know how many places on Staten Island have Singlecut, but more should. And it's up to you guys to go out and ask for it, and then people will get it. That's the story. All right, thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the night. See you next time at the beer clubs.
I got stickers too.